So bearing in mind that I do not have a lot of retail experience with World of Warcraft, this character has 1 day, 5 hours on it, and I just started playing a few weeks ago in the middle of my exploration of Classic, because we have been playing Classic since May, but I feel like Classic is such a completely different game. However, playing Classic for the first time ever was what brought me to retail, because as much fun as I was having in Classic, and we're doing raids and everything else, everyone kept telling me, oh, you should have been here when the game, when this was here for the first time and all this other stuff. And I've heard all of these great stories about how amazing World of Warcraft was, and for some people still is. So I decided to start playing retail, and I have been having a lot of fun, because I feel like it's a lot like Star Wars: Old Republic in the sense that I can just hop in and do storylines and get great cinematics and voiceovers, and there's a fun story. At least it's been fun for me doing Battle for Azeroth so far. But there's something that I didn't know about until just the other day, because I just got to the point where I've started running dungeons. I ran a dungeon about a week ago, then yesterday I did another dungeon, and I'm getting ready to do another dungeon as I finish up this zone, which I don't even remember the name of the zone, to be honest with you. This is Boldoon. And I'm sort of working my way through the quest lines here in Boldoon now. So here's the thing that I found, which completely blows my mind. Because previously, every other game I've ever played in the history of MMORPGs, if you want to do a dungeon or do a raid or any sort of group-based content, you have to go in and figure out the strategies for yourself. And it's trial and error. And a lot of people, if they're coming in late, they'll go read a strategy online. And I was I was talking to Nathan the other day, and he was talking about how, I haven't been able to find a lot of information on like the raids for Shadowlands or anything else out there, and I wonder why that is. And when I explained this to Nathan last night, he went, "Oh, that's probably why there's not a lot of information online, and that's because the information is here within the adventure guide section of World of Warcraft." I didn't know this until the other day. I've ran 2 dungeons, didn't even find this out until I finished the dungeons. But here I am for Battle for Azeroth, an example. I can click on any dungeon, and it's going to give me a complete breakdown of not only the lore for the zone, but if I click on the individual... What? Strategies for damage dealers, tanks, and it's tabbed so you can expand. Oh my god, we're going to be going through this today, because this to me is a mind-blowing feature that only adds, for me, to the enjoyment of this game, because now I'm not having to... Let's just put it this way. I've done my time trying to figure things out, trial and error. I ran a top 3 worldwide raid guild in EverQuest 2 for 7 years. I did hardcore raiding in EverQuest 1. I've done it the old school way of going in, bashing your head against the wall, not having a wiki to follow, not having any sort of guides to walk through, and doing 20, 30 times against a mob in some cases until you figure it out. I've done that. I don't have the desire to do that ever again. So this right here, mwah, chef's kiss to me. We're going to be going into this today. I'm Tim Anderson, aka Renfell. If you've gotten to this point in the video and you like what you've heard so far, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you get more updates like this. We play a lot of World of Warcraft, we play a lot of Lord of the Rings Online, Star Wars: The Old Republic, we play a lot of other games, God of War, console stuff, Xbox Series X, PlayStation. We do shows, we do Rings of Power, House of the Dragon, Star Wars, Star Trek, and beyond. We do book reviews, and a whole bunch of other stuff, so hopefully you'll check out all the things that happen on the channel. And if you want to support, well, we'll talk more about that at the end. But in the meantime, let's dive into this and the amazingness of this feature. To me, I think it's crazy. So this was one of the dungeons I did. The very first dungeon I did, I think, was Altaldazar. And I didn't know about this when I first read it, but you can come in here and it automatically has, if you open it up, I'm a hunter, so it automatically has the damage dealer tab open. So let's just go back here real quick. Go to Altaldazar, and right off the bat, there is a, at the top it says normal. So you can turn it, so this is going to be very interesting. In some cases, I've seen it slightly change the strategies because it's based on what version you're running. But anyway, you get the lore section here. Millennia, the Landerlei kings were laid to rest within the tombs, blah blah blah. You get the lore section. Then you can see it on the map. Okay, that's kind of cool. Go back to the I don't know how to go back to that actually once you open that part. I'm still learning this. So hang on. So go back to Atal'Dazar, and let's click on one of the knobs. Priestess Alunza. As a fanatical defender of Atal'Dazar's golden sanctum, the priestess has come to cleanse the temple of any corruption at any cost. She will expel pools of tainted blood, and then it tells you what the tainted blood does. She'll do it at random locations and coat players with molten cold at random. It tells you what that is as well. When she reaches 100 energy, she will cast Transfusion. And it tells you what Transfusion does. And it says here, if you're a damage dealer, stand near a pool of tainted blood and step into it just as she begins casting Transfusion. Then if you're a healer, it tells you the strategy for healers. Molten Gold affects player at random and can be dispelled. Stand near a pool, so that's the same one. And then for tanks, it also gives you a strategy, one of which is the same as everybody else, but save damage reduction for Gilded Claws when she does this. So let's see if this one has Heroic. Oh yeah, look at that. So it changes the strategy. This is the normal strategy for damage dealers. Just stand near a pool of tainted blood. That's it. Then if you go to Heroic, there's additional criteria. So you can know that, okay, not only do I need that, but I also need to worry about Corrupted Gold because it's going to lower my damage dealt. Plus it's going to do damage to me. And Spirits of Gold is going to absorb tainted blood unless they are dispatched. So we're going to take care of that. And then if we switch to Mythic, it looks like it's the same thing for Mythic. But I've seen things throughout here as I've been going along where things change slightly. But not only does it have strategies for all of the different bosses, for all of the different archetypes in the game so that you can know what you're supposed to be doing based on your class role, it also shows the loot table for Heroic, Mythical. So normal, Heroic, and Mythical. You get the loot tables, right? Freaking amazing. Oh, but there's not just that. It then has a complete breakdown, which it kind of already showed you, but you can come in here and see it laid out in a different format, the abilities that they do, and you get a character model preview of all of the different boss mobs. This is honestly, I know some people out there who are like hardcore, like, this is just easy mode, and this is for the pussies who don't want to do it for real. Yeah, fuck off. This is amazing to me because this allows everybody the chance to come in and clear it at the tier that's great for them, whether it's normal, heroic, or mythical plus, right? I love the fact that I can do all of my research. This is brilliant. This is a brilliant strategy, by the way. This is them saying, we don't want people going out of the game to research how to do things. We want them remaining logged into the game because that's the number one rule of any video game or product as a service. You want to keep people on the platform. You don't want to give them the chance to go away from the platform or out of the client because they have the potential to get distracted and go somewhere else. So you want to keep them in, keep them immersed. So this is brilliant because you're able to keep them in the game by having something that's within the game to do your R&D. Now, I thought this was just for raids because just for dungeons because I didn't even see the raid tab at the bottom until yesterday when I was talking about this with Nathan. Nathan being Nathan Napalm. For those of you who don't know, I do a lot of stuff with Nathan Napalm. And we're the two raid tanks for our guild in Wrath Classic. So, we do a lot of talking and strategizing and everything else, and we're talking about upcoming Dragonflight, which neither of us own yet. But we're both playing retail, kind of like for the first time seriously taking it. I started a little bit after him. He's played it before. I hadn't. So I'm still in Battle for Azeroth, which is what it had me do because I'd never done it before, and he's doing Shadowlands and finishing that up. Anyway, talking about this, I did not know that there were also, it breaks down the raids. So you can look up like the Azeroth raid, and it does the same exact thing. You get a breakdown of all of the raid mobs in a zone, and you get an explanation of what the fight is like for your specific archetype. Now again, it has different strategies for different archetypes. So you can look up, what do I need to be doing if I'm a healer? What do I need to be doing if I'm a tank? And you can look at every single mob, and it's so cool because then you can go in and you can research. Especially, this is really cool from a standpoint of doing, obviously there are tools online where you can plug your class in and just say, what is the best in-slot item for me? And you get a list of things. But I think this is a cool tool for people who are in game and doing it that way, because you can look it up and you can go, oh, this mob drops these things, I could use these things. But there's a filter on it, right? So I can turn off the filter. This is the cool thing. So I could turn off the filter and I can see all the things that she drops, right? And then I can look at, by slot and everything else. I can say, oh, is it for Beast Mastery? Does anybody have Beast Master slots? All these things. So it's such a cool feature to be able to come in here and do all of your raid research, all of your dungeon research, all of your strategizing and everything else in the game without needing to go to any online resource. This to me is one of the coolest things I've seen in an MMORPG ever, and as I'm getting deeper and deeper into World of Warcraft, I'm beginning to understand more and more why this game is considered like the best MMORPG of all time, because they do stuff like this. They have features that no one else has, and they streamline things in ways that no one else does, which makes for an experience that is seamless, smooth, and allows everyone access and opportunity, which I think is really, really, really cool. Food for thought. I think this is an amazing feature. I didn't know this was in the game until, like I said, a couple days ago, and it has blown my mind that you can go in here and do this and do your R&D within the platform and get a breakdown of dungeons, boss mobs, loot tables, strategies, and figure it out on your own without needing to go read a strategy or have someone tell you how to do it. Now, obviously, you still have to run things, and reading it is different than actually doing it. There's still a learning curve to figure out the visuals and the timing and the call outs and all the other things and working with teams. But this is a great tool to get you working in that direction. So kudos to Blizzard for this, because this is a really cool feature that I think is just flat out amazing. I've said that a bunch of times throughout this video. Anyway, we've gotten to the end. Hopefully, if you like this enough, you'll subscribe, hit the bell icon, stick around for more, and hopefully I've earned some form of support from you, whether it is a super thanks on this video or joining as a member of the Adventurers Guild. We have 3 different tiers of membership here on YouTube, and we do a lot of stuff for our members. Plus, if you're here on a live stream or a premiere, you can always drop a super chat or a sticker and keep this channel going. I've been full-time since June of 2022 thanks to the support of the community, so thank you so much for that, everybody. And there's also a Patreon page. Ignore the mess. We're getting Christmas decorations sorted out, and I pulled stuff out of boxes. Patreon page for the game dev project that I have with my wife and my brother. It's our 5th edition tabletop setting, point-and-click adventure game, and a book series, all being up there on Patreon. So hopefully we'll see you there as well, and in our Discord. So until next time, for the Horde! See you, everybody.